Sheets, his 5th home run of the year, and the Padres take a 1-0 lead here in the 4th.
Gavin Sheets homered on a fly ball to right field, 1-0 San Diego. Bottom of the 5th inning, Giants didn't take too long to answer back. Surprisingly, it was from somebody who's been struggling, and Rafael Devers. He homered for his 3rd home run of the year, tied it at 1.
Here's the 2-0. And Devers in the air out to deep left field. Laureano's back. He is at the wall. Leaps up, gonna go. Rafael Devers. Finally for him, a home run. And it's a game-tying shot.
Game was tied at 1. Padres getting to the later innings. They had runners threatening and a couple of outs, and all of a sudden, Giants went to the bullpen. Well, the Padres went to the bench. They called up Ty France. It took a little bit longer than they wanted to get him up there. He started the count with an 0-1 pitch after a pitch clock violation, battled his way through the at-bat, and Ty France was able to add some very important insurance runs in the 7th on a triple to right field.
Gage delivers. France swings, loops it into shallow right field. Rodriguez, long run, dives forward, can't make the catch. Kicks off his glove, rolls behind him. Both runs are going to score. France is rounding second, on his way to throw the tag, not in time. And the Padres go ahead, it's 3-1.
Padres take a 3-1 lead on the San Francisco Giants, and then they add to it none other than home run team leader Xander Bogaerts. Got his 7th homer of the season, put this one out of reach.
And Bogaerts launches one in the air deep down the left field line, trying to keep it fair, and he will! Another home run for Xander Bogaerts. He leaves the yard for the 2nd consecutive game, and the Padres add on. It's 5-1 here in the 8th.
Xander Bogaerts' 7th home run of the season gives the Padres a 5-1 lead. It gives the Padres a 5-1 dub. They score 5 runs on 6 hits, do not commit an error, leave 6 on base. Giants, 1 run on 3 hits, 1 error. They leave 2 on base. Matt Waldron earns the win. He's down 1-1. Adrian Hauser took the loss. He is 0-4. Time of the ball game yesterday, 2 hours and 14 minutes. Played in front of 34,180 on a 67-degree, partly cloudy afternoon in the city by the bay. That was yesterday's game. Let's get a quick preview of today's game as we head over to the Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center and speak with the voice of Mr. Tony Gwynn Jr.
Let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Tony Gwynn Jr. in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
We go to the Padres broadcast booth where Tony Gwynn Jr. sits by and takes in a beautiful afternoon here in America's finest city. Tony, what's going on? Welcome back home.
Hello, Bray. How are you, friend?
Doing on the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. And, you know, today's a pretty big series, a start of a big series. Two teams that statistically shouldn't be winning as many games as they are. But you know what? You played the big leagues. You understand winning games is really all that matters. Should be an interesting matchup between two very similar teams today.
It should. You kind of hit the nail on the head. They are very similar in a lot of ways. They both catch it. Don't make a lot of mistakes defensively. They both run the bases well, although they don't have a ton of team speed. And really, the Padres are the outlier because they have some superstars on their team, and they're finding ways to win. The Cardinals really don't. You know, I think Jordan Walker's starting to come into his own as their superstar, but really outside of that, just a lot of guys making their way, young guys making their way at the big league level and figuring out ways to win games.
Biggest thing, obviously, I think for Padres fans, I know we talked about it last week on the roundtable. I think a lot of people want to be able to see Fernando Tatis Jr. put the ball over the fence. That's something that he's working on. That's a swing adjustment. You talked about it last week on the roundtable. You've talked about it on your show. For me, I mean, as a Major League Baseball player, I know you work on stuff and you work on the swing and it might work in practice, but, you know, trying to implement that in a game against some high-level competition, that's not something that happens overnight. What have you noticed out of Fernando and some of his adjustments, and just how hard is it as a big leaguer to not just do it in practice, but then incorporate it in games as you're trying to help your team win more so than just trying to get yourself right?
The answer is you can't. You can't take things that you're working on in practice and try to work on them in the game. It doesn't work. The best bet is, you know, you work on it, in practice, and then you go into the game and you wait for it to come along. As we all know, it takes a long time to build habits. And when you've had habits, that much longer to get out of those and kind of go off of the good ones that you start to create. But that takes time. Saw Toddy out here early before the game with Steven Souza and Manny kind of working through it. And so I would say you got to give him time. Although many of us have felt like he's been close, that may not actually be the case since none of us have really talked to him and really tried to get down to the nitty-gritty of it. But I still have no worries that Toddy will figure it out. But I do think it's going to take some time. At this point, when you've gone this long, a caliber of player that has gone this long without hitting a homer, it's probably not a short-term fix. It's probably something that he's going to have to dig in the next 10 days to 14 days to try to get his swing where it's supposed to be. But I think ultimately, when it's all said and done, Toddy will be just fine.
Last follow-up question on that, Tony. I mean, just for, somebody that's, played this game before and at a very high level. And, obviously I don't think you were probably having the approach of, man, I got to hit a home run. But when you have to do something and your internal body is telling you have to do it, how much more difficult is that? And how difficult do those at-bats become as you try to fight maybe your own, mental expectations as, you look up at the scoreboard going into the box?
It's not the body at all. It's all of the brain that you're fighting against. And that scoreboard, although it's fun to look at when the numbers are good, it's you try to avoid it, but your eyes somehow just kind of work their way to it so you see it often. So it's really a mental game. You know what you're capable of, but your swing may not be at the point where you can do the things that you're capable of on a consistent basis. And that's what I've appreciated about Toddy this year. Despite the struggles, I think it's been very rare where you've seen it kind of in his body language. I think that's a thing that's different from past years. And I think he's trying to do other things that can help the ball club win. And I think that's what you want from a leader on your team. And as he figures it out and this team continues to find ways to win, it just gives him a little bit more time to buy the time and try to figure those things out.
Tony, appreciate the time. You got to get ready for a broadcast. Thanks again, and look forward to talking to you again about Padres baseball.
All right, Bray, take care.
Tony Gwynn Jr. joining us on the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show as part of our game preview here on the pregame show. And when we come back, interesting moves made by the Padres today. Craig Stammen will have some answers on that. We'll hear from Craig when we come back. We'll talk about who's hot and who's not right now. Look at Xander Bogaerts putting together a pretty good start to the season, and Jackson Merrill has some pretty good numbers against the Cardinals. We'll explain when we come back. I'm Braden Surprenant. You're listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on Station 97.3, the Fan of the Padres Radio Network. Padres. Craig Stammen had some interesting stuff to talk about today when coming about the broadcast, about the roster moves, and he had a couple other things that he wanted to dive into as well. We went down there and talked with Craig before the game started. Here's what Craig Stammen had to say before tonight's game.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
Tell us about what you're expecting with Campusano and his recovery.
Yeah, just got a little fracture in his big toe. So it's one of those things like you could potentially play through, depending on pain and tolerance and all that. He's definitely feeling better today.
Tell us about what you're expecting with Campusano and his recovery.
Yeah, just got a little fracture in his big toe. So it's one of those things like you could potentially play through, depending on pain and tolerance and all that. He's definitely feeling better today than he was yesterday, but we're just a little bit of a bind with the catching situation. It's a position that you can't really hide. You need a couple of them. So I think it'll be good, be able to get past it in the IL stint and be able to be healthy when he comes back instead of trying to play through something where he's feeling it.
Is there a timeline with that? Like how does it need to be healed fully? Does it need to be get to a certain point?
We'll keep assessing him literally every single day and then decide, when that time is, if we want to even give him at bats before he gets off the IL, or if it's right when the IL, we'll figure that out as we go. It'll be a literally day-to-day kind of thing.
And then Duran, what are you expecting, A, from him, and then B, in terms of your catching split going forward?
Yeah, Duran, excited for him to make his major league debut. I think he's 13 years in the minor leagues, so this is a pretty cool call up for him and for all of us. We really loved what we saw from him in spring training this year and in the last year, and what he did last year in AAA and what he's done so far this year at AAA. Expected him to be a great catcher. He's got a great arm, but his bat's kind of come alive the last 2 years, and really excited about what he can do here in the big leagues. We definitely, see him as a big league catcher and felt really good about him being our number 3 coming out of spring training. So congratulations to him and his family on a major league debut today. It's going to be exciting.
How prepared should Ty France be as an emergency catcher, just in case the situation should arise?
Well, I think, when you have 2 healthy catchers, you're okay. When one of them goes down, then you're one foul tip away, you're one freak injury away from having a position player have to catch. Luckily, Ty has caught a little bit in the minor leagues. He's got some experience with it, but in the end, you really would rather him not catching Mason Miller in the 9th inning. And I don't think he wants to do that either. But that's the nature of baseball and what you kind of have to be prepared for.
That was Craig Stammen talking before today's game. Obviously, some roster moves today. Rodolfo Duran has gotten the call-up from AAA El Paso. A great opportunity for him, obviously, with Freddie Fermin being a little banged up. Luis Campusano goes on the 10-day injured list as well. Plus, we found out that Joe Musgrove is on the 60-day injured list. We'll talk more about that during our injury report. But now it's time to get to who's hot and who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to step up their game? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not. Presented by ASAP Drain Guys and Plumbing, a division of Anderson Commercial, your full-service plumber serving San Diego County.
Let's start with the bogeyman himself, Xander Bogaerts. Since April 5th, he's slashing .326 with a .976 OPS, 10 multi-hit games, 8 extra base hits, 19 RBIs, 15 walks, and 17 runs scored. He ranks top 6 in the National League in average, on base, and OPS over that stretch. He has homered in back-to-back games for the 24th time in his career and launched his first pinch-hit homer on Wednesday. Xander Bogaerts looks like he's locked in on Who's Hot. Jackson Merrill continues to feast on who? Well, the Cardinals. That's something to watch for tonight. He's reached base in all 14 career games against St. Louis, owns an active 8-game hit streak against them, and is hitting .340 lifetime against the Redbirds, his highest mark against any opponent with at least 10 games. In his last 5 games overall, he's slashing .429 with 2 doubles, a homer, 3 RBIs, and 2 steals. Manny Machado just played his 1,000th game as a Padre, only the 4th player in franchise history to do it. He's still driving in runs at a ridiculous clip. And how about Mason Miller? Named National League Reliever of the Month for March and April. His 3rd career honor, perfect 10 for 10 in saves, 1.17 ERA, 29 strikeouts and 3 walks, and opponents are hitting a laughable 118 against him. He's been absolutely filthy. On the flip side, Fernando Tatis Jr. still searching for his first homer of the season, 152 plate appearances and counting, longest homerless drought of his career. He's hitting .242, but the power hasn't shown up yet. Nick Castellanos has struggled to find his groove at $191 on his average with just 1 home run and 11 RBIs. He's been better of late with the 3-game hit streak, but the Padres are going to need a little bit more out of the veteran right fielder. Freddie Fermin is hitting just .150 as the primary catcher, while Campusano is sidelined. Position has been a weak spot offensively out of Freddie Fermin. Campusano, of course, has done exceptionally well on the injured list, and that's a look at who's hot and who's not. Talked a lot about what's going on with the Padres, but it's time to check in on the rest of the baseball world. 3 big injury stories making waves today. Let's dive in.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
Braden Surprenant filling in for Sam Levitt on the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. Want to mention that keep EcoWater SoCal keeping it soft since 1925. Visit EcoWaterSoCal.com or call 760-353-38. Let's get to what's going on in Chicago. Tough break for the Cubs rotation. Left-hander Matthew Boyd underwent successful surgery on his left meniscus Thursday after hurting it playing with his kids at home. Manager Craig Counsell called it minor meniscus surgery, but said Boyd is going to miss a month to 6 weeks, probably closer to 6 as he ramps back up. The knee should heal fast, but the throwing downtime is the real question mark. This is Boyd's 2nd IL stint already this season. He's 2-1 with a 6 ERA and 5 starts. He'll join fellow starters Justin Steele, who got knocked out later. He's going to be out later this summer with an elbow. Top prospect Cade Horton, who's out for the year with an elbow, also being on the shelf. And the good news is for Chicago, though, their offense is carrying the load. Cubs are scoring 5.4 runs per game, 3rd best in the majors, and they've won 8 in a row and 18 of their last 21. They beat the Reds 7-6 Wednesday night to keep the streak alive. They designated Corbin Martin for assignment after a rough outing. Cubs still finding ways to win despite the pitching injuries. Very impressive. Speaking of injuries, opening doors, let's talk about the local kid. Over in the Bronx, Yankees lost outfielder Jason Dominguez for a few weeks with a left shoulder sprain. 23-year-old crashed hard into the wall in left field, making a catch in the first inning of Thursday's 9-2 win over the Rangers. He also went into concussion protocol, but initial tests came back negative. That injury opens a spot for one of the most exciting prospects in baseball, the 24-year-old from La Costa Canyon High School in Encinitas, Spencer Jones. Yankees, number 5 prospect, according to ESPN. Jones gets his major league debut Friday night when the Yankees open a 6-game road trip in Milwaukee. The 6'7" Jones has been mashing at AAA, .258 with 11 homers and a .958 OPS in 33 games. He's a plus runner, a good center fielder, and as teammate Cody Bellinger put it, a large man that hits the ball very far. Good news for Spencer Jones, San Diego product out of La Costa Canyon High School, family friend of ours at the Surprenant family. So excited for Spencer Jones, excited for the Jones family. He's making his major league debut for the New York Yankees on Friday. Finally, in Boston, the Red Sox placed 21-year-old outfielder Roman Anthony on the 10-day injured list with a sprained right wrist. He got hurt in his very first at-bat Monday night in Detroit. Interim manager Chad Tracy said Anthony's still sore and they didn't want to keep playing shorthanded. Anthony flew back to Boston to see a hand specialist and is wearing a brace. He hasn't picked up a bat since Monday, but is optimistic he'll be back in exactly 10 days. That's your trip around the horn. Cubs rotation taking another hit. A Yankees prospect gets his shot, and the Red Sox hoping their young star is back soon. Plenty of roster shuffling across the league as we head into the weekend. Here at Petco Park, Padres are dealing with their own situation. And when we come back, we'll talk about the injury report for the Padres and dive into what to watch for as we continue on the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show with Braden Surprenant on the Padres Radio Network. I will say this when it comes to the St. Louis Cardinals, it's not who you play, it's when you play them. And right now you're playing the Cardinals when they are red hot. Speaking of the Padres Cardinals, we have some news that came out today for the San Diego Padres. It'll be a little short-handed today, a little bit of movement as we look at today's injury report.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Had some roster moves announced today. The Padres have selected the contract of catcher Rodolfo Duran from AAA El Paso. He's in the lineup and catching tonight. And in the move, they place catcher Luis Camposano on the 10-day injured list with a left toe fracture. To clear space on the 40-man roster, they have transferred right-hander Joe Musgrove to the 60-day injured list with right elbow information. Other notes from the injury list, Yuki Matsui was activated for the 15-day IL on Tuesday after his left groin strain. Jeremiah Estrada returned from the IL recently and is throwing well again. We've seen him a couple of times already. No other major injuries to report on the position player side, though the catching depth is now thin with only Duran and Freddie Fermin available. If you look at Joe Musgrove's move to the 60-day IL, he'll miss a couple of weeks now on top of what he has already missed. Obviously a blow to rotation, but the Padres have been getting quality innings from Michael King, Randy Vasquez, Walker Buehler, and the bullpen bridge. Overall, injury luck has been relatively kind lately, but keeping the catching and rotation healthy will be a key as the season rolls on. According to Craig Stammen, he didn't go into a lot of detail about it, but the report was after they put Joe Musgrove on the 60-day injured list, they made it sound like it was a procedural move. So I wouldn't look too far into that. That's what the Padres are reporting. That's what we're going with. Joe Musgrove's on the 60-day injured list. And again, I'm sure it's retroactive or it's not an additional 60 days. It will be on top of what he has already missed. Again, procedural. It gets Rodolfo Duran on the 40-man roster. You're going to see a lot of those moves in Major League Baseball. So that's a look at the injury reports. We got some games going on in Major League Baseball. Let's take a look at our out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
It's a late night out here in San Diego. In fact, they will be the only game on when they start. They're waiting for the Rays and the Red Sox to finish, as tonight's game will be on ESPN. Of course, we're carrying it live on the home of the San Diego Padres, 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Rays are leading the Red Sox after 8. They're up 6-4 on Boston as they head to the ninth inning at Fenway Park. That's the only game that is currently in action. Games that have gone final today. The New York Yankees have defeated the Texas Rangers 9-2. Mackenzie Gore got hit with the loss today. He's now 2-3 with a 5.18 ERA. Over in our nation's capital was the Washington Nationals outlasting the Minnesota Twins 7-5 as they are able to get one on the Twins, who is now starting to come back down to earth a little bit. Out in Kansas City, the Guardians beat the Royals 8-5. Sage Coney got the win. Seth Lugo took the loss. In Chicago on the north side, Chicago Cubs beat the Reds 8-3. Interesting play in the game in Chicago at Wrigley Field. Bases loaded for Chicago against the Reds. Ground ball to third base. Brian Hayes tags third and heads home. And Tyler Stevenson caught the ball on the plate. The problem is he didn't try to tag the runner, who is now not a force out at the plate. A run came in to score. Reds thought they had a double play to go to 2 outs. Instead, the run scores. It adds to more runs, and Cincinnati falls 8-3. That was a 7-run fourth inning for the Chicago Cubs, and they never looked back after that point as Imanaga got the win today. Rockies beat the Mets. It stops the Mets' winning streak as the Rockies win 6-2. It was a makeup game from May 5th. Pirates over the Diamondbacks today, 4-2. That's good news for Padres fans, the National League West. A's bludgeon the Phillies 12-1 in the city of brotherly love. And unfortunately, for our producer back there, the Miami Marlins take down the Baltimore Orioles 4-3. Both teams are now 17-21 on the season. And that's a look at today's out-of-town scoreboard. Big game today for the San Diego Padres. It starts a big weekend series for the Padres against the team they're competing with, potentially for a playoff spot in the St. Louis Cardinals. It's not who you play, but it's when you play them. And right now, the St. Louis Cardinals are red hot. How are the Padres going to knock down the Cardinals today? Let's take a look at today's keys to the game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Rock and Block Turf and Hardscapes. Beautiful artificial turf that stays green all year long. Trust and experience. The job isn't done until it's done right. See them at rockandblocklandscape.com.
All right, multiple keys to the game today for the San Diego Padres. It's a 4-game series, so might as well give you 4 keys to the game. Number 1. Get to Matthew Liberatore early. Padres are 18-2 when they score 4+ runs and 13-4 when they score first. Jump on him in the first 3 innings and let the offense breathe. That's a major key to this game. Padres haven't had a lot of early success in the first inning, but if they can jump on Matthew Liberatore early, they'll be able to hopefully get a W. Key number 2, Michael King goes deep, not over the fence, but deep into the game. He's reached 5 innings in every start this season. If King gives the Padres 6 strong, the bullpen, led by Mason Miller, who did pitch yesterday, can slam the door. Padres are 18-8 when the starter goes at least 5, and 15-2 when they allow 3 or fewer runs. Key number 2, Michael King goes deep into the game. Number 3, bullpen dominance. This is going to be a series built on bullpens. Cardinals bullpen, 27th best in baseball. Padres bullpen, probably their best asset. Their ERA is a little inflated after a couple of blow-up games kind of late, and of course the games down in Mexico City, but this is a massive strength for the Padres. The bullpen dominance is going to be a key all weekend long. With Miller, Adam, Estrada, Morejon, and the rest, the Padres lead scorers in baseball. Protect leads after the 6th. Let the arms take over. Key number 4, capitalize on the Cardinals' weaknesses. St. Louis has struggled on the road, and the Padres have owned them at Petco Park. Use home field advantage and the crowd. Crowd get behind the boys, and the Padres should have a good victory. We'll throw in an extra one, might as well. Key number 5, stay hot with the extra base hits. They had 12 extra base hits in the last series. Keep the line moving, put pressure on the Cardinals' defense. If the Padres execute these 5 things tonight, that's a lot. They should head into the weekend with a chance to take the series and keep climbing in the National League West. That is a look at your keys to the game. When we come back, we're going to give you a what to watch for. We'll dive a little bit into the pitching preview if we can. Plus, we'll hear from Mason Miller and what it feels like to have a bobblehead. Finish up the show, EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show with Braden Surprenant on the Padres Radio Network. Braden Surprenant filling in for Sam Levitt as we get you ready for Padres and Cardinals. Game 1 of a 4-game series this weekend in San Diego. A series that the Padres have done very well against the Cardinals at Petco Park. We talked a little bit about that in the keys of the game. When we're going to maybe look at it a little bit in the what to watch for. But today, as everybody's walking around at the ballpark with the Mason Miller bobblehead, it's, of course, Mason Miller bobblehead day. Let's go down to the clubhouse and hear from Mason Miller, who talked a little bit about what it's like to have a bobblehead.
The bobblehead yet?
I have, yeah.
How do you like it?
Turned out great. Phenomenal.
Do you have any say in that?
They sent it to me for approval, but yeah, it's good to go. You know, they do a great job with bobbleheads. Any sort of bobblehead with your name on it's a pretty awesome feeling. So not a hard approval at all.
That pitch is from Chicago last year, kind of grown in infamy, and is now even on a bobblehead. How often are you asked about that thing, this time included?
It's toned down for sure. Yeah, I mean, I got not 104.5, but the other day 101 on the black down the way to me drop. So yeah, just continuing to pitch, and hopefully, you know, every time out we get something new to talk about. You know,
Took a little off at 101.
I guess so.
Coming back to Petco Park, you get a quick road trip. Obviously, you're a guy who thrives on environments. Just being with these Padres fans, have you kind of become almost comfortable with the amount of adoration and noise you're getting every time you walk out?
I'm definitely partial to pitching here, being home in San Diego, the support, the fans, how we feel as a team coming home here is second to none, I'd say. And you know, there's a growing comfort with it, but also just not being complacent with it either. You know, it's easy to, like, you know, it'll be there, whatever, but just appreciating the perspective of, you know, how many people are excited when I come in the game. You know, guys on the team and staff here too. Just we showed up and got the job done that we were trying to do that day, and I got a chance to finish it off. So it's a special moment, special feeling for sure.
When the Cardinals now come to town, this is something you didn't have to worry about a couple of years ago in baseball, but they have a good record. Probably gonna be fighting with you guys for a playoff spot. So this series and the one in St. Louis could determine tiebreakers. Is that something you kind of put in the back of your head, like these series maybe mean just a little bit more nowadays in the current landscape of baseball?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, each game's important. Each series is important. We've had a really good start to the season, winning a lot of series, and that's always the goal. Take 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4. But yeah, a team that, you know, you might line up pretty close in the standings at the end of the year. You know, those games definitely need a little bit more, but I think as far as how we approach it, the approach doesn't change. Still worry about today. Not worry about like the whole series. Can't win the series today. You can only win the game today.
You guys are on a stretch of 19 games in 20 days. How do you kind of prepare yourself for that, knowing that I want to be available for as many of those as possible, but also knowing that there's still so much of the season to go?
Day by day. Yeah. I mean, it just kind of read and adapt. You know, fortunate to be efficient yesterday. Have a couple of days off, so come in feeling pretty fresh for this series, and you know that's all that we can do because every day is kind of unpredictable. You could have a 5-pitch outing, you could have a 30-pitch outing, and you know there's no sense in really planning for the next day before you worry about finishing off today.
Your efficiency is something that's really gotten good this year. Is that something you've focused for you on the offseason?
Yeah, in a roundabout way, I think so. You know, it's kind of just been a byproduct of doing a lot of other things well. You know, it's a lot harder to say, like, I'm just going to be more efficient and I'm just going to do it. But, you know, being in the zone more, attacking guys, not really wasting pitches or taking the time, having these longer at-bats, just kind of strike 1, strike 2, get a guy out, try to do it in 3 or less pitches, 4 or less pitches, and keep moving. Nobody putting guys on base for free. And I think that's been the biggest difference, really, is the walks.
Did you get in that lab over at PLNU at all?
Second.
Did you get in the pitching lab at all over at PLNU?
We did during Fan Festa through once. I actually probably was my worst bullpen I've thrown in a while, so I didn't get a lot out of it, but it's a cool setup for sure. I wish I could have thrown a little bit better, so maybe I would have learned something. But.
That was Mason Miller before tonight's game. Obviously, it's Mason Miller bobblehead night. First 40,000 in attendance. Everybody's walking around their Mason Miller bobblehead. Who knows if he pitches tonight or not? He pitched yesterday. Obviously, they needed to give him a little bit of work yesterday because he hadn't pitched in a couple of days. So we'll see if the Padres need to employ Mason Miller tonight. You feel better if you just jump out to an early lead and then you don't have to use Mason. Although it'd be fun to see Mason Miller on Mason Miller bobblehead night, of course. A little bit tough, to guarantee the playing time for some of these guys on bobblehead night when they're relief pitchers or closers. We didn't have the sound for you to play. It's on social media at 97 through the fan SD. You can see the comments by Jason Adam. They asked Jason Adam about like having a bobblehead. He's like, of course not. I don't have a bobblehead. Got to pitch better to get a bobblehead. Come on, man. Got an all-star under your belt. Get the man a bobblehead. What am I watching for in tonight's game as we get you ready for Padres and Cardinals game 1 of a 4-game set? Should be a fun one tonight. A little bit of a later start on national television. What am I watching for tonight? Let's take a look.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovements.com.
First and foremost, the Major League debut of catcher Rodolfo Duran tonight. 28-year-old was slashing .238 with 4 homers and 20 RBIs at AAA El Paso. He went 4 for 4 with a double, a homer, and 4 RBIs just 2 days ago. Padres fans, get ready to welcome the new face behind the plate who's coming in due to Luis Camposano getting placed on the 10-day injured list. Michael King on the mound versus Matthew Liberatore. King is 3-2 with a 2.95 ERA. Has gone at least 5 innings in every start and owns elite numbers in interleague play. He's making his second career start against the Cardinals. Liberatore has been solid for St. Louis. We'll see how the Padres right-handed bats, Bogarts, Machado, Merrill, fare against him. Career numbers show some Padres familiarity. Series history at Petco Park. Padres are 12-6 in the last 6 series against St. Louis here, outscoring them 92-57. They win 5. They have won 5 of the last 6 series here at home against the Cardinals. Bullpen watch, Mason Miller, Jason Adam, 1.80 ERA, 6 holds for Adam. Jeremiah Estrada, Adrian Morejon. This group has been absolutely dominant. Padres are 17-0 and leading after 8 innings. Offensively, look for the Padres to jump on Liberatore early. They're 13-4 when they score first and 18-2 when they score 4 or more runs. Also, keep an eye on the extra base hit parade. Padres had 12 extra base hits in the Giants series. And finally, the crowd. Should be a fun crowd tonight. Full house, Mason Miller bobblehead day. Padres have done exceptionally well at Petco Park, especially against the St. Louis Cardinals. Padres are second in the majors in home attendance. And the Padres are second in the majors in home attendance and have sold out 15 of 19 games at Petco. Faithful are going to be loud tonight at Petco Park, and that's some of the things that I am watching for. Coming up in just a matter of moments, we'll have first pitch between the Padres and the St. Louis Cardinals. It's game 1 of a pretty big 4-game series here at Petco Park. Should be a fun one. Jesse Agler, Tony Gwynn Jr. on the call. You have been listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal, your water should be perfect. Find them online at EcoWaterSoCal.com. I'm Braden Surprenant. Talk to you guys in the postgame show.